Hello, it's me again, Eric. Today's story is about a friend of mine called Dave. It's a bit of a tragic story. I met him in the pub the other day. He come stumbling out of a Uber taxi. He had like an old dirty raincoat on and his hair was stuck up. A few yellow teeth, all his front ones missing. Bloodshot eyes. Yeah, he didn't look so great. He come stumbling into the pub to meet me. He'd already had a few. Obviously, he'd had gin for breakfast or something. He wasn't in a great state when he turned up. Yeah, he's just had the tag removed off his ankle. He got done for exposing himself at a local supermarket, which was a bit unfortunate. Yeah. You probably want to know how he ended up in this state, because he wasn't always like this. He started out as like a really handsome guy. He had his own business, nice flash car. Used to go everywhere in like tailor-made suits covered in gold, and then he ended up like this. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you how it all sort of happened, how it went down, how he went from being sort of like a successful guy to the mess I saw in the pub the other day. Bloody shame. Right, I'll tell you all about it. I'll show you a quick picture, and then I'll tell you how he ended up there. Right, here we go. Here's the picture. Yeah. Right, yeah. Well, the main part of this story all starts when my friend met this girl. She was like a model. She was a proper bloody stunner. My mate was batting well above his average with this one. So they decided to get married. And they went away on an honeymoon. And that's pretty much where the story starts, really. Or should I say where the problems start. So yeah, they went away on honeymoon and went to this luxurious hotel in New York. And they were walking through the underground car park. Anyways, you're walking through, this Bentley pulls up and nearly hits them. So they just jump out the way and this Bentley stops. And the window winds down and this like old fat bloke in there. He says, "Oh, sorry about that, I didn't see you there. Yeah, bit of an accident there. At least you're all right." And my friend says, "Oh, no, don't worry about it." He says, "Oh, bloody hell." He said, "It's a beautiful car, this." The bloke says, "Oh, this little thing. Yeah, it's a bit of a runaround." He said, "A runaround?" He said, "Must cost a fortune, that." He said, "Oh, well, yeah, I suppose. Don't really notice. I've got loads of cars." And my mate's just like, "Oh, bloody hell." Well, yeah. He said, and the bloke turns around. He says, "What are you doing here then?" And my mate says, "Oh," he said, "we're on our honeymoon. We're just staying here for a few days. And this guy says, "Oh," he said, "I stay here all the time when I'm on business, really. Nice little hotel." He said, "So I'm glad you're both enjoying yourself. Are you enjoying married life?" And they said, "Well, we've only just got married, really, on our honeymoon and all." And the bloke says, "Oh, so this is your wife?" And he says, "Yeah." He said, "This is like Doreen." And she walks over and he grabs her hand and kisses her hand. He says, "Oh, what a beautiful wife you've got." And my friend says, "Oh, thank you very much." And this bloke says, "Anyway, you enjoy yourself. I hope you have a great honeymoon. I best go and park my car." So then he drives off. Right, I'll stop for a second and show one more picture. And then we'll carry on with the story. I just like to break it up a bit, gets a bit much watching me all in one go. Right, here we go, little picture, and then we'll carry on. Right, yeah, it's later that night now in the hotel, and my mate Dave's sat there with his wife in the bar, and both having a drink. Anyway, the guy that they saw in the underground car park walks in. And he walks over in a loud voice. He says, "Can I have the largest bottle of champagne you've got, please?" And the bloke behind bar says, "Oh, yeah, no problem, sir. Yeah, shall I just put it on your tab?" And be like, "Yeah, just put it on my bill. I'll deal with it later." Yeah, like I said, the most expensive champagne you've got. If you just get me a bottle of that and a few glasses, I'd appreciate it. So bloke hands him over to him. Anyway, he walks over and then he sits next to the couple. He says, "Oh, hello again." He said, "I don't think he introduced myself." He said, "My name's Theodopolopodus." And my mate Dave says, "It's, yeah, all right, that's an interesting name." He said, "Yeah," he said, "I own a shipping company." He said, "I deal with shipping all around the world." He said, "I'm Greek, if you didn't guess by the name." And my mate Dave goes, "Well, yeah, I thought you might be Greek." So they're there talking away, and he says, I just brought the champagne over to celebrate your happy honeymoon." He said, "So don't worry, it's on me." My mate Dave's like, "Bloody hell, the price is in here." He said, "About that cost you a few £100, didn't it?" And the bloke says, "It's nothing really. It's like a cup of coffee for me." He said, "I've got that much money, I don't know what to do with it most times." He said, "You just enjoy the champagne." He said, "You just have a drink with me." So they all sat round having a drink and a bit of a giggle. Anyway, later that night, Dave's wife said, oh, feeling a bit tired and queasy after all this champagne. I'm going to have to get to bed. So they both wished her good night and off she went. Anyway, as he's sitting there, this Greek guy leans forward. He said, I tell you what, mate. He said, how much to sleep with your wife? And my mate Dave says, how bloody dare, what do you mean how much to sleep with my wife? What sort of bloody comments that? I thought you were all right, you, but that's bloody disgusting thing to say. And this Greek guy says, look, he said, I won't mess around. If you let me spend a night with your wife, I'll give you $12 million. How does that sound? And my mate says, that's bloody disgusting. How much? 12 million? Bloke says, yeah, $12 million to spend a night with your wife. One night, and then that's it. You buy what you want after that. And my mate says, that's pretty bloody reasonable. I have to be honest, 12 million quid. He said, how the bloody hell do I ask her? The bloke says, look, he said, I don't know, it's up to you. You just ask her and see how it goes. So my mate goes, oh, bloody hell, he said, we've only just got married. We've only been married a couple of days. And this bloke says, yeah, he said, I know, that's where the sort of thrill of it is, you see. He said, I like the excitement of it. That's why I want to pay so much money. And my mate's like, well, it's a bit iffy this, but, 12 million's 12 million. He says, I'll tell you what, he said, I'll have a word with my wife and see what I can sort out. So the bloke says, right, well, I'll leave you to that. You finish the rest of your champagne. I'll see you in the morning and you tell me what you've both decided. So, right, he said, I'm going to get to bed. I'll see you later. Bye. So off he walks. Right, I'll show you one more picture and we'll carry on with the story. Right, here we go. Right, so it's later that night. He goes back in his room, my mate Dave. He's feeling a bit uncomfortable. He's thinking, how the bloody hell do I approach my wife with this? She's not going to be impressed. So anyway, he thinks, what the hell? I'll just ask her to see how it goes. So anyway, he wakes her up. She says, what bloody hell? She says, fancy waking me up. I was comfy there. What you waking me up for? He said, I've got something to ask you. She sits up and she says, right, go on then. What do you want to ask me? He said, you know that bloke we've just been having a drink with? She says, well, yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I think I remember that, yeah. He said, well, he asked me if he could sleep with you. Yeah. So she sits there, she thinks, she said, what do you bloody mean? What do you mean he wants to sleep with me? What sort of bloody thing's that to say? Tell him to go and boil his head. What do you mean he wants to sleep with me? He said, yeah, he said, it's not quite like that. He said, look, he's made a bit of a proposal. She said, what sort of bloody proposal? Look, the guy said he'll give me $12 million if I let him sleep with you, one night. She said, how much? 12 million? He said, yeah, 12 million. She said, well, look, she said, it's bloody tempting, but I'm still not bloody doing it. We've just got bloody married. We're on our bloody honeymoon. I'm not sleeping with somebody else on my honeymoon. He said, look, it's $12 million. Can you not, take one for the team? She says, bloody take one for the team. What do you mean take one for the team? You bloody sleep with him. Yeah, well, he doesn't like me, does he? I don't look like you. Don't think he's that way inclined. She says, well, I'm not bloody sleeping with him. 12 million quid or not, I'm not bloody doing it. He said, look, it's one night. He said, we'll get a big country-like mansion, nice Bentley of our own. We'll never need to work again. We'll be able to go on holidays every bloody month. We can buy a second home in the sun, in the Caribbean, something like that. It's going to be a great life after that, all for one quick night. I mean, you don't have to do anything too kinky. I mean, he's probably not into whipping or anything like that. It's probably just going to be your standard, bit of nookie, and then that's it. For 12 million quid, you can't complain, can you? Well, I can bloody complain. What do you mean? He says, look, just do it for us, will you? This will set us up for life, this. She went, oh, right, okay, I'll do it. I don't bloody like it, and I feel bloody disgusting, but 12 million quid, I suppose, I can take, I'll just have to put up with it, won't I? He said, oh, that's good. Nice to see that you're a team player on this one. She said, well, don't call me a bloody team player. I'm doing it, but I don't bloody like it. I'm not happy. He said, look, I appreciate it. I'll tell him in the morning and we'll take it from there. Right, so I'll show you another quick picture and then we'll carry on with the story. Right, here we go. Yeah, well, anyway, next morning, he met the like Greek guy. He said, look, he said, my wife's agreed. She'll meet you at your room tonight. And the bloke said, right, that's good. He said, I'll tell you what, come to the main desk tomorrow morning, put a call out for me. I'm here for another 3 days. So you just put a call out for me at the, like reception, and I'll come down and meet you and we can sort out all the financial arrangements. And my mate says, right, okay then. So later that night, he's with his wife, and his wife, knocks on the door. Door opens. Greek guy's there, and my mate just walks off. He's feeling pretty uncomfortable. It's not much fun letting your wife sleep with somebody on your honeymoon. But he thinks, 12 million quid, what can I do? Anyway, next morning, she comes out the room, looking a bit worse for wear. And my mate's like, well, how did it go? She said, you don't want to bloody know. And as for not being bloody kinky, you must be joking. He come out the bathroom in a bloody R2-D2 costume. I mean, how bloody kinky do you want? He said, look, I don't want to know the details. She said, yeah, right, okay. She said, I'll go and get a coffee. You go and put the call out for him at reception and we'll sort the money out and get going home. He said, right, I'll do that. So he goes up to the counter and he rings a little bell. A bloke comes over. He said, yes. He said, I'm after what's he called? Theodopolopodous, if you don't mind. He said, what, that Greek guy? Dave says, yeah, the Greek guy. He said, that bloody swindler. He stayed here for a few days running up huge bills with bloody champagne, caviar, lobster, bloody penthouse suite, huge bloody bills. Turns out, bloody false card, complete bloody liar. Do you know the guy? Because we're trying to get in touch with him. He just bloody did a scarper this morning. Apparently he's took everything with him and he's gone without paying his bloody bill. And my mate Dave's just like stood there in shock. Like, he's like that. He's not, he's proper in shock. Anyway, the bellboy stood there. He said, bloody hell. He said, that Greek guy. He said, I could have told you he was on the fiddle. He said he bloody gave me a tip the other day, not bloody much of one, like $1 tip. And I noticed he was wearing a Rolex watch. What sort of bloody billionaire has a watch with bloody Rolex with 2 O's on it? And when he opened his case, I saw he had a pair of Levo jeans. I could have told you he wasn't a bloody billionaire. So my mate's in shock now. He's just thinking, oh, bloody hell. How am I going to tell my wife? She's not going to be bloody impressed with this. So anyway, he comes back to the UK and he tries reporting it to the police station. He's saying, oh, this bloke, he paid 12, he offered me 12 million to sleep with my wife, I want him arresting. And the police officer's like, you bloody what? Why, what's his name? He said, oh, Theodopolopodous. And the bloody detective stood there. He said, what, you want me to write that down? He said, for a start off, he said, it's the bloody American police you should have been telling him about this. And besides which, they just bloody arrest you anyway. You shouldn't be pimping your bloody wife out. What the bloody hell are you doing? He said, well, it was 12 million quid. I mean, what would you do? And this, police detective turned around. He said, nobody would spend bloody 12 million to sleep with my wife. Bloody hell, I'd spend a couple of million just to avoid sleeping with her. So, yeah, that was that, really. So, anyway, it ended up in a bloody messy divorce, and she's crying on the stand saying how her husband pimped her out. Needless to say, it meant that me mate lost his business and his car and his house, and yeah, she pretty much took absolutely everything off him. He ended up pretty destitute after that. But it wasn't all bad. About a year later, he won a cornflake competition, and when he was over in bloody Greece on an holiday, he went in a kebab shop and he only bloody saw this Theodopolopodous guy in the kitchens, didn't he, making a kebab. The bloke saw him, ran out the back bloody doors. Oh, it bloody chased him. He couldn't catch him. So that was the end of that. So yeah, sad story. So like I said, that's how my mate ended up flashing in a supermarket with no money and a chronic alcoholic with no wife. Yeah. Sad story. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that little story. It's a little bit sad, but, these things happen, don't they? Well, they don't happen often, I'll be honest, but they do happen. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's story. I shall see you again next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because like I said, I need all the likes and subscribers I can get. And a few comments would be nice, as long as they're clean. Yep, right, so that's that. See you later. Bye. Right, that's your lot. See you later.